Can y'all hear me okay? Anybody? If anybody can hear me, will you just let me know? Can anyone hear me? Okay, beautiful. Give me a couple minutes. We'll get started here. So if you're just jumping on, good morning. Give me a couple minutes just to get set up here, and I'll be with you in a minute. I'm just hanging out here live at Wrigley Field. Not sure what's up with that glare, but we will manage. Yeah, this will do. Thanks, Chuck. I try. All right, y'all hang out. I'll be right back. All right, give me one more second. We'll get started here. I'm in the trees. All right, I think that's better. All right, so good morning, everybody. I'm just going to get this other thing set up here while we're getting settled in, while the millions of people are joining. Why don't we get started with a quick question? What was the highlight of your week? How's that? Tom, what was the highlight of your week? And anybody else who wants to share the highlight of their week? So we'll give a couple minutes. If you're joining us for the first time, there's a chat box there. You can go ahead and type it in, and I'm actually on my phone here, so I will be able to see the responses without Travis today. Hummingbird at the window, surf camping, rescuing a cat, nice. Lucky cat. What else? Highlight of your week for anyone who's just jumping on here now. Started a new book. Benji, what's going on, man? Oh, I still got to send you something. Thanks for the reminder. Tom, you typed something, but I missed it. Your highlight of the week was probably watching paint dry. I'm just stalling here for another minute while I get this other thing set up. All right. Anyone else want to share the highlight of their week? Logging off work laptop at 5 o'clock. Nice. Nice work, Marisa. It's not easy to do. Yes, Nancy, that was a good one. I looked down just in time. The Cubs did win. For those of you who didn't see Nancy's comment, visiting a friend that came close to death. Yeah, these are rough times. Talking to mom, beautiful. You know, the funny thing about baseball, and then we'll get started with the meditation. Those of you who know me know I'm a huge baseball fan and Cubs fan. And I actually think it sucks that they're playing right now. I don't think they should be playing, but those are just my personal views. A lot of money involved, and I don't think it's right to put players at risk the way they are. It's almost forcing them to go out there and play in many ways. And you put them at risk, which puts their families at risk, which puts everybody at risk. So, but when you have billions of dollars driving an industry, you have baseball. So, anyways, we'll go ahead and get started with the meditation. Obviously, I'm not at temple this morning, but glad I can join you all and somehow mastered on my own the technology behind all of this. So my laptop doesn't pull up, or the camera doesn't work on it for YouTube, so I'm using my phone. But we'll go ahead and get started with a meditation practice. For those who may be joining us for the first time, welcome. There's a couple things I'll tell you before we begin. Nothing's going to happen to you. You won't float away. You won't have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice, meaning don't ask yourself, is this working or not working? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? We're just going to sit. We're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside, wherever you are, sounds outside. I'm sure I'll hear sounds where I'm at here. This is life. Life is filled with chaos, and the practice of meditation is learning to get quiet and still within all the chaos. Posture, you just want to be comfortable. If you're on a cushion, often helps slide into the front third. Pushing the stomach forward allows the back to straighten. Shoulders are relaxed. If you're on a bench or chair or couch, just trying to sit upright, shoulders relaxed. Hands can be on the knees or in the lap, whatever's comfortable for you. I will guide us as we begin. We'll settle into a little bit of silence. And most important is don't expect anything from this practice. We're just going to sit and breathe. And starting with the eyes closed, if comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth is open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths, slowly. And eventually, we'll settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. Start with gently guiding the attention and focus to the stomach or chest. Breathing in, feel them rise. Breathing out, they fall. Simply going to continue this practice, observing sensation of breath, expecting nothing but to sit and breathe. As the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it, release that thought, returning attention, focus to the breath. As the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it, release that thought, return attention, focus to the breath. Where's your mind? Return attention, focus to the breath. Letting go of expectations, letting go of judgments from the practice. Just sitting, breathing. Keeping the mind alert, aware of each sound, each thought, each physical sensation. Yet concerned with nothing but sitting, breathing. learning to be comfortable in stillness, in quiet, just sitting, breathing. And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle, know what it's like to just sit and breathe, knowing with each breath there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, no one else to be. Everything beautiful, just as it is, sitting, breathing. Once again, taking 3 deep breaths slowly, and as you slowly open the eyes, slowly begin to move. And most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after. Compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. And ask yourselves how you'd prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And realize however you feel now, if it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, has nothing to do with anything I said. It's nothing to do with how you sit and hold the hands or cross the legs. It's nothing to do with the sounds around you or anything else for that matter. It has everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddhist awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being no different than any one of us who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. What that means very simply for all of us, regardless of where we come from or what we believe in or where we think we're going, our whole life is filled with things that happen. We react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's it. This practice is learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way we responded to the last 20 minutes is quite different from how you respond to everything else that's happening throughout your days. So all we're working on is closing the gap to where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives, but with a mind that's steady, clear, and focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. This is not an easy practice. It's not necessarily fun, but it's free. Meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. It's sitting, breathing, and learning to be kind to yourself and everybody else you encounter every moment of your life. And that's it. Can you become aware of everything you think, everything you say, and everything you do? And just sit with that. Once we stop trying to change, fix, control, manipulate everything around us, and we work on changing our minds and our reaction to those around us, life gets simpler. But it's a practice. And these are times where they're very difficult for most people because you're not used to being in the situation you're in right now. Can you adjust? Can you adapt? The practice of equanimity in Buddhist teachings is very critical, always, but especially at a time like this. How will you respond to what's happening around you? Can you stay calm? Can you stay at ease? Can you stay peaceful during all of this? It's not easy. And you're being challenged to do things that you have probably never had to do before. A lot of that is nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is still doing something. In fact, always doing nothing is still doing something. Can you be okay with that? One of my favorite Zen expressions is when hungry, eat, when tired, sleep. And it's a very simple practice, a simple way of life. But when you want to try to force things and control things and manipulate things and have everything go how you want it to go, then you're going to struggle a lot. So can we in many ways surrender to the conditions that we are in and embrace it as it is? So with that, I'd rather just stop, and I always prefer to use most of this time to just respond to questions, meditation, Buddhist practice, anything you're sitting with that I can address. And if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. As I said earlier, there's somewhere on your screen, there's a little chat box. You can type in your questions, and I'll go ahead and respond. So we'll use the rest of this time for questions on meditation, Buddhism, anything you're sitting with, and go from there. And yes, it is nice to sit outside and be in the trees. Although I think I'm sitting in the middle of lots of either ants or mosquitoes or both. But these are the conditions I chose. So here we are. Questions, thoughts? Is it fair to say that meditation is learning to lessen our interaction with our thoughts and feelings? Oh, why did that go away? Hang on. Live chat. Is it fair feeling so that our control, our, oh, that's funny. Well, Marisa, can you cut and paste that? Because I saw half of that question and then it went away. So something about, is it fair to say that our meditation is about, there we go, interaction with our thoughts and feelings so that they control behavior less and allow more? Yeah, definitely. Um, and yes, hello, Samir from Long Island. Samir's the only one that I led a meditation for prior to his bar exam. We sat on the roof of some hotel, I think, if I remember correctly, probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And this pandemic drove us all online. And because of that, someone like Samir gets to join us again. So we'll get back to Samir's question. But Marisa, yes, I think the practice of meditation is to become the observer of our thoughts. And to not be so driven by our thoughts. You know, our thoughts leads to words, and our words leads to action. And this idea that all of these thoughts that arise have to be acted upon is what we're used to doing. And we're not used to just observing our thoughts and recognizing them and then letting them pass. We're used to responding them and allowing them to control us. But, you know, the Diamond Sutra talks about, you know, all phenomena, all things being like dreams, bubbles, and illusions. And if you think of thoughts as a dream, a bubble that just pops, an illusion that just goes away, it really becomes almost nothing there to respond to. So all of the thoughts we have, they keep flying at us, and we want to observe them. You know, obviously it's important to pay attention to our thoughts because all the things we do that are beneficial and keep us safe in our lives come from our thoughts. So we have to be aware of them. But yes, I think to your question, Marie, so the more we can just observe them and not allow them to control us. You know, if we have a thought of anger, we quickly try to do something to get rid of the anger. If we have a thought of fear, we quickly try to do something to get rid of the fear. If we have a thought of sadness, we quickly try to do something to get rid of sadness. Um, you know, what's wrong with just having these thoughts and just observing them and being present with them? Nothing necessarily. Again, not always. If you're in a dangerous situation and you have a thought of fear, then you know you need to be wise enough to remove yourself from the situation. But many of our emotional traumas that we carry are just all of our responses to thoughts. So learn to observe them, I think, is beneficial. So let me see if 12 years to the date. Are you kidding me, Samir? That's crazy. So for some reason, at least on my phone, your questions pop up and then they go away. So hopefully that responded to your question. Samir, I think you had a question after that. Can you maybe post that question again? Love you too, Sam. Welcome back stateside. You've probably been back a while. Samir, go ahead and cut and paste that question and I'll read it again quickly. And then there was somebody after Samir that asked a question, but let's start with Samir's. I was trying to pull it up on my laptop also so I could see the string of questions, but that wasn't working. So, and then I even saw someone say, "Great question, Samir. I'm with you, Samir." So, or whoever had a question after that can post theirs again also, and I can respond. What if I just want to meditate all the time instead of parenting and working? Is that a practice or escapism? Thanks, Sam. Sam, the Jewish guy, my Jewish brother. Yeah, I mean, the question of what if I want to meditate all the time and not parent? Um, it's kind of an easy one, at least immediately in my mind. And the easiness to it is that view your parenting as your meditation. So, uh, yes, Samir, you can meditate all the time. And that means you can parent all the time. And that means you can eat all the time. And that means you can walk all the time. And that means you can have conversations all the time. Um, I understand the practical question of meditation versus parenting or anything for that matter, which is we often think we want to escape from, as you said, escapism. We want to escape from what's going on and just meditate. But that's because we're differentiating between meditation and yeah, I got it, Samir. Thanks. Um, we're seeing a difference between parenting and meditation. But if we recognize that really all meditation is a concentration and focus on the present moment, meditation is not the escape. Meditation is practice to bring us to the present moment. And in that present moment, you are parenting. In this present moment, I'm sitting here and I am being, eaten alive by something out here. So this is my present moment. This is my meditation. The 20-minute meditation that we just did is no different than me now speaking or me now scratching my head. Uh, meditation is present time awareness. It's not escaping from anything. It's actually bringing you fully present to what's going on. And again, going back to the parenting example, what's going on is you're parenting. So when you're parenting, parent. When you're hungry, eat. When you're tired, sleep. When you need to parent, parent. Try to look at it as your practice. If you look at the paramitas of generosity, morality, patience, diligence, concentration, wisdom, all of those things, they are necessary to be a parent. So in simple form, don't separate parenting from meditation. Make parenting your meditation, and you'll be okay. I just saw a question come in. Hopefully that's helpful, Samir. I just saw a question come in about how often I think or how regular meditation practice should be. And my suggestion is just do it like you're brushing your teeth. You don't fall out of brushing your teeth typically. You don't brush your teeth every day for a week and then take 3 weeks off. You brush your teeth every day, sometimes twice a day. So, we take care of our hair. I always say I don't have to worry about that, which I don't. We take care of our teeth. We shower every day, ideally, put on new clothes every day, some of you. So meditation should really be the same. I think that if we look at it as not this big event, we don't have to go to a class for it. You don't need 40 minutes for it. You don't need candles. You don't need to make it a big deal. You just need a couple minutes, just like brushing your teeth. You don't say, well, today I'm going to brush it with my left hand, or today I'm going to brush my teeth with different toothpaste, or today I'm going to use a different toothbrush. You have your toothbrush, you have your toothpaste, and you brush your teeth. It's every day. It's just a habit. So if you have trouble making it a habit, I would say start with just doing it, a meditation practice, 2-3 minutes every day. And it's more about being consistent with a daily practice than it is, a 30 or 40 minute sit. So every day, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes is most important. So hopefully that's helpful. There was another question I know from the beginning, right after Samir's, and I didn't see who it was, but if anybody wants to repost that, or if there are other questions as well. It's rough braving the difficult elements of San Diego. Having experienced very focused meditation in my practice, I get frustrated. I'm having a super busy mind and get quiet. I wonder those days if I should. No, you should not give up and try later. I read that very quick because I knew it would fade away on my screen. But yeah, Molly, it's a good question. But again, I think you're judging. Thank you, at Sam and Jeff. You're welcome. Um, uh, I think Molly, what I read quickly in your question there was that you're judging your practice, and you're saying that super focused. You're making that sound as if it's better than a scattered mind, or a wandering mind, or whatever words you used, if you used any at all. Uh, I don't judge one meditation versus the other, and I wouldn't suggest saying, well, now I'm super focused and now I'm not, so I'm going to stop. Again, when eating, eat. Um, when tired, sleep. When parenting, parent. When meditating, just meditate. Don't think of it as how is it working for me or how is it not working for me. Sit simply to sit, and without any idea of gaining, without any idea of it going well or better or worse or good or bad. Just sit. Um, here's my channel. Oh, okay. Uh, and I think if you try that, Molly, what it does is it just allows you to work through it. And I get it. Our minds are very critical and judgmental. And so no matter what I respond to you with doesn't mean you're all of a sudden just going to stop judging your meditation. But in a practical sense, I would suggest that when you find yourself in those moments where you think your meditation isn't going so well, uh, just note it as something happening, not necessarily noting it as something bad, and sit with it and work through it. You know, very often in our lives we have challenges, we face challenges and difficulties, and we don't want to work through them. We want to run from them. You know, this is tough, so I'm going to run. Um, so I think you can use that moment in meditation as still a practice of training the mind to be with discomfort, or angst or dissatisfaction or something you don't like. So I would just sit with it. Other questions? You're welcome. Yeah, it's not easy. We're very critical of so many things, especially ourselves. And it's very difficult to sit down and say, I'm going to sit simply to sit, as opposed to saying, I'm going to sit and hopefully this is a good sit. You may have heard me say this, but years ago, there was someone did kind of a little documentary of some Zen space somewhere. And he was interviewing some young person and asked the person, you get up at 3:30 in the morning to sit Zazen, to do, morning meditation. And they asked them why. And the guy just kind of looked at the person and laughed and said, I have no idea. Um, so there was no idea of gaining or any idea of judgment. It was just sitting simply to sit. And if you think of, and my talk last time was, nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, no one else to be. There's nothing else to do, just sit. Watch the mind race, watch the mind jump, watch the mind's illusions, watch the mind's trickery, watch the mind's, games, and just sit with it. Other thoughts, questions? Or if anyone wants to repost that second question, hint, hint, that was thrown out there. I think it was good. I just don't remember what it was. I didn't see it all. I have knowledge of someone who is possibly going to emotionally hurt someone. Do I let this play out, or should I step in? Can you still hear me? Because I just heard something in my ears. Just someone let me know if you can hear me. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Cynthia, I mean, knowledge of someone who's going to emotionally hurt someone, that's a tough one, and one I can't, you know me, I never answer questions anyways directly, but in a question like that, I, I use the phrase karma protector a lot. Things that protect my karma. Karma is what we think, what we say, and what we do with our body, speech, and mind. And this idea in practice is to be very guarded with your karma. I mean, the Buddha, he neutralized his karma. He sat still, he didn't speak, and he stilled his thoughts. That's why at the end of the meditation I always say, still the body, still the speech, still the mind. He sat for 21 days, didn't move, didn't speak, and stilled his thoughts, as it said. So that's what the awakening was about, was neutralizing his karma, and not positive or negative karma. So in a question like that, what that's basically now doing is that puts me in a situation where you have knowledge of someone who may be hurt, and how I respond, now my karma is tied to that situation. So it's funny because this has nothing to do with you, Cynthia, but a lot of times people ask me if I'll do one-on-one stuff, or if I'll kind of take them on and be a whatever to them, and I always say no, because I try not to mess with people's karma. I get it, I'm sitting here a couple times a week for the last 10-11 years sharing thoughts, and that's obviously, people are then doing things with possibly what I say. So I understand that there's always that opportunity, that risk or opportunity or chance that I'm getting involved in other people's lives by what I share. But I think, Cynthia, to your question directly, you just have to be very mindful of what your intention is. And I think that is important in everything we do, which is we have to be aware of what our intention is behind all of our actions, what we think and what we say and what we do. And if our intention is to cause harm, then we need to be aware of that. If our intention is to try to protect someone and keep someone safe, then we need to be aware of that. And I think that's really what our lives and every opportunity or every situation we encounter should be about, which is, what is our intention behind our action? So I think if you know what your intention is, and your intention is potentially to protect and not cause harm. Oh, Samir. Oh, Samir, always wanting to run. You've been running for years, my friend. You need to sit. I'll come back to your question. Cynthia, I think just look at your intention and understand that you have from knowing you a good. This is the danger of knowing these questions, or who they're coming from, but knowing you and knowing that you have a good heart and a good mind, and don't want to cause harm and want to do nothing but bring kindness to the world. I think that you'll know how to respond to your own question, and you have to recognize also, I think, that whether you respond or get involved or don't get involved, you're still involved. As I said earlier, sometimes doing nothing is still doing something. So there are things that we could get involved with and stand up for rights that we believe in, and if we just stay silent and do nothing, that's really doing something. So I'm a fan of people speaking up for what they believe, and people standing behind what they believe, and people sharing their thoughts in a kind, compassionate manner. I think that's the best thing we can do. So hopefully that's helpful, Cynthia. And Samir, the question of, the Buddha had to do this to find enlightenment, and, can the common man, common person do the same thing? The Buddha was a common person. You are a common person. I'm not really going to run away, I know. Yes, because if you do run away, Samir, I will track you down. I've seen your children. I will find you and I will send them to you. the idea that, the Buddha left his life, and we're getting towards the end, so I'm not going to talk too much on that. But, yes, he left his householder life, but I think we have to look at the reason he left it, was to find a way out of suffering and be able to share that with others. And in fact, that's what he did. He found the way out of suffering, and then he came back and taught to his family and everybody else. But he was just a common person, and we are just common people. We are really, as I always talk about, no different than the Buddha himself. He was human, he ate, he slept, went to the bathroom. We do the same thing. And I'm a big fan of understanding causes and conditions of our human existence. And as it's said in the teachings, the Buddha had thousands of lifetimes prior to being born as Siddhartha Gautama, that the prior life he was a fully enlightened bodhisattva, and then was reborn as Siddhartha Gautama. And in that life, that was his last life until he entered nirvana. The teachings of the Jataka tales also say that in his prior life, he fed himself to a mother bear who was trying to feed her cubs, and she was dying, or she didn't have enough nutrition and couldn't feed her cubs. And so he was a child, and he told everyone to run away, and he fed himself to the bear so the mother could feed the cubs. And then his next life, he was reborn as Siddhartha Gautama. So I think that before we ponder what it would be like to run away from the common life, ask ourselves, are we spiritually, emotionally evolved enough to where we would sacrifice our lives that way? Not that you should go do it, but I can't speak for anyone else, but I know that I am many lifetimes away, endless lifetimes away from being anywhere close to where Siddhartha Gautama was. And I also, I think, as a householder, so to speak, meaning non-monks, non-nuns, people that live lay lifestyles, and if you have family or kids or anything like that, that you take care of, that is your perfect opportunity to practice. That they are your greatest teachers. Those children, they are your master. Period. You can thank them every day for being your greatest teachers. There's nothing, I believe, that any monastery or master is going to teach you any more than what you learn from raising children. So let me know how that goes, Samir. Love you, buddy. Yes, there are lots of hungry bears out there. Beautiful response. I love you too. Other thoughts or questions before we wrap up? Hungry bears and hungry ghosts out there, so. Anything else before we close? And hungry mosquitoes, definitely. Hungry mosquitoes. What's that one? I don't know if it was the Dalai Lama or that one quote about if you ever think you're too small to change the world or too insignificant or something like that, then spend a night alone with a mosquito. Yep. I mean, I'm the one who sat here. It's my fault. All right. So I'm going to close on that. We'll join palms. I know we didn't take refuge at the beginning. So I'm actually going to take refuge now, and then we'll do a transfer of merit. So if you can join palms, and you can repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. And now the transfer of merit. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to all beings in all directions. May all be at peace. May all be free from suffering. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to Evan during his time of suffering, and to the family and friends who suffer as well at this time. May all be at peace and free from suffering. So thank you all for joining us. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma bum. We opened up the Dharma Bum Temple to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. That was 14 years ago. Those of us who lead, we're not monks, we're not nuns, we're not gurus, not masters, we're just practitioners. And we do our best to share our understanding of Buddhist teachings with those who show up. So thanks all for being here. We have classes every night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays on YouTube, Travis, Alex, and myself. Then everything else we do is on Zoom. Our recovery sangha is every night, just about. Our teen sangha, our college groups, our morning meditations. Everything's still happening in almost all of our classes. So go on the website, go to thedharmabums.org, go to the schedule, and you'll see the events that are happening. Everything is free, not just because it's a pandemic, but because Buddhism is free. Nothing out of the ordinary, I don't think, coming up. So I appreciate you all being here. If I never see you again, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. Really is the heart of this practice. So be safe, be well. If you go anywhere, wear a mask. Stay home as much as possible. The temple has been closed since March 12th, and as is Buddha for you, and we will continue to stay closed until we feel it's safe to open, which is probably not going to be for a while. So thanks all for being here. Good luck. See you soon.